back-to-back coaches shows, the season premiere of the Jake Morton show that's coming up next, and the Nate Kilbert program, which is right around the corner. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert, the Lady Braves coming off a big win over Jackson State. When was the last time the Lady Braves won their conference opener? And when was the last time we started 2-0 in conference? I got the question. I got the answer. We'll talk about it coming up after this 30-second timeout. We'll recap Jackson State and look ahead to this big Alabama swing. We'll be right back after this on the Braves Sports Network.
We always believe in the power of curiosity. Our students don't just study, they reimagine possibilities. Every moment is an invitation to explore, to challenge, to transform how the world understands knowledge. Within our College of Arts and Sciences, discovery meets transformation. Your breakthrough starts here. Always mentoring, always connected, always Alcorn.
Coming up on the Braves Sports Network, 91.7 WPRL, WPRL.org, Facebook Live, WPRL, and on YouTube, Braves Sports Network. We have the season premiere of the Nate Kilbert program. Glad you can join us. Happy New Year with our producers, Cedric Tillman, Jamario Brooks, Charles Edmond. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert. We'll recap a terrific basketball game. Two great games to open up in Jackson. One low scoring, one high scoring. And we'll talk with Jake Morton coming up a little bit later as he gets ready for a big Alabama swing. You can text a question 601-301-2611 on X Tall Man Radio. As the Lady Braves were off yesterday, you take on your travel partner. It was Alcorn, Jackson State, as well as Florida A&M, Bethune-Cookman when they play each other, which they did. They're off on Monday. So the Lady Braves, as well as the men, were off on Monday, and they get ready to go to Alabama. What a game, 49-45. Low-scoring game, kind of like Lady Braves tempo I felt going in. And the man with the answers is Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert. Coach, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Anytime we can get a win over Jackson State, you know I'm doing good the next day. The next 4 or 5 days, I'm doing good. So it's great.
And Nate Kilbert was very well dressed, by the way. He didn't have the Hall of Fame gold jacket, but he's still the NFL Hall of Fame. He's got an NFL Hall of Fame gold jacket. You can take that jacket to Canton and put it up. I mean, it was just perfect. It's the great Alcorn gold, the NFL gold. Still look dapperly dressed, and hey, the Lady Braves got it done, coach. And low scoring game. I kind of felt going in, if it was low scoring game, it would favor us. Not a lot of scoring, not a lot of great shooting percentages, but in the fourth quarter, that's where you get it done. And you go back to some games in which in fourth quarters we played well than we did to start. The Auburn game in which we held Auburn to 6 points, and against Jackson State we held them to 4 points. So talk about the game overall, and especially that fourth quarter, Coach. Was that one of the better fourth quarters that you've seen since you've been head coach?
Well, Charles, we've been pretty good in the fourth quarters, even in non-conference play. I thought we played well against Mississippi State in the fourth quarter. I thought we played well against Auburn in the fourth quarter. We played extremely well against Jackson in the fourth quarter. So when it's winning time, and fourth quarters to me are winning time. If you keep the game close enough, that's winning time. We played some pretty good basketball, and I thought we did a real good job of that against Jackson. Our only problem was against Jackson was we just was missing shots we normally make in in the first three quarters. In that fourth quarter, we started to hit those shots a little bit more. But I really feel like the tempo was in our favor the whole entire game. I thought we was in control of the game because we dictated the game. For offense and defensively, we was the one that doing deciding how fast the game would move because of what we was doing on the defensive side of the ball. I thought we took Jackson out of their offense. We made them take a lot of long shots. Not that they dislike taking shots because I feel like they didn't shoot the ball well either. I feel like they feel like they can shoot the ball a lot better, but a lot of their stuff was rushed, and we was trapping them out of it. So we throwed a lot of different things at them, which made it difficult for them to run their offense. And I thought that was the key factor in us winning the game. Is what we took them out of what they really wanted to do. We made them uncomfortable the whole game.
Well, the Lady Braves had their best shooting quarter in the fourth quarter where they shot 40%. Jackson State, of course, had their worst shooting quarter in the fourth quarter where they shot 20%. So let's go back to the beginning, Coach. You've been kind of talking about the starting lineups. Every player on the roster had a chance to start a game in non-conference. And so you went with the lineup of Nakia Cheatham, Kashani Walker, Jasharia Hunt, Kiera Henderson, and Maya Claytor. The veterans, of course, you got Cheatham, you got Henderson, you got Claytor. Was there any doubt, or at what point did you decide this is the lineup? Did it come down to the last maybe 2 or 3 games of non-conference? Was this kind of in your gut all along? Because you gave everyone a chance to start, and you were kind of tinkering with starting lineups, and this is the one, obviously, I think the second game, maybe third game in a row, you went with this lineup. Is that something that you just decided to do, or were you still tinkering even going into the Jackson State game?
Well, we felt like that was the best lineup according to the opponent that we was playing. With Jackson having a big kid inside, we feel like Christian would be a good matchup with her starting the game off, and I think that's what dictate how we start. For the majority of the time, is it's who's our opponent? Who are we playing against? How well does this person play against a big? How well does this person play against a faster person? And we feel like that was the perfect lineup for us, and which we feel like that'll be our lineup for a few games. I think it'll be Alabama State. I think that'll be our same lineup. I think for A&M that'll be our lineup. But it could change it, on a given day, depending on who the opponent is. And I thought that was a perfect lineup for us. And because it doesn't really matter who starts the game, you'll find out a lot of kids that didn't start the game got almost more minutes than some of the kids that started. So that's, to me, that's what's important. Who finished in the game more so than who started in the game. Because if you out there doing crunch time, that tells me you're doing something good. And Leah Houston was out there doing crunch time, so she was doing something good, and she didn't start the game, so she had to be doing something good to be out there doing the crunch time.
Well, as you see some of the highlights here for those that are watching, I can tell the lid was on the basket. Could you tell there was some nerves early? I mean, we know what our non-conference was. We knew what Jackson State's non-conference was. Could you tell some anxiety, some nerves early in this game?
Yeah, you could tell some nerve, but most of those nerves in my mind came from people who hadn't been in those type games before. I didn't see the nerves from Henderson. I didn't see the nerves from Cheatham. I didn't see the nerves from Claytor. I saw it from our young people and our new people. I didn't see it from our older heads. They've been there, done that before, so I didn't see the nerves from them. They was ready to get at it. I saw it more from the kids. This is their first time seeing this type of environment. Seeing Jackson State for the first time on their home court. So the nerves came from most of our young people.
You were about as animated. I mean, we could have put a uniform on you, Nate Kilbert. You were shuffling from side to side. And so, obviously, when you look at that first quarter, Coach, 13-11, low scoring first quarter. The one thing that I did see, the trap, half court trap. And I mean, when you ran at it with them, it was definitely a struggle. They finished with 18 turnovers. Was that a new wrinkle? Is that something you're waiting to kind of throw in there? Or is that something that you kind of had in your back pocket?
Well, it's always been a part of what we like to do, Charles. Out of our 1-3-1, it was something that we had in the bag. We just never used it a lot. It was a lot of things that we didn't do in the non-conference play that we're probably going to do in our conference play. But that was already in our bag. But you have to work on it to be real good at it. So we've been working on it in practice. And some teams it fits better than others. Sometimes we'll just play out 1-3-1 and won't trap out of it as much. But I think it was perfect for Jackson. When they overloaded one side of the floor and left one side of the floor not covered it. That's the perfect time to trap them, and it really messed with them the whole entire game. And to be honest with you, Charles, you can't adjust to that. You can't adjust to that, because you don't know when it's coming. It's a reaction thing, and a lot of kids can't react that fast. And I think that's what really created problems for Jackson. They never could get into something where they could be comfortable running their offense, because they was being trapped so much. And when you're being trapped, you can't run no offense. People got to pop to the right spot and pop to the open spot, and that we kept them thinking and we kept them confused.
Keep them guessing. That's one of the big keys to it. So on the defensive side, you definitely confused them, but offensively, there was no confusion in terms of who stepped up early and kind of set the tone, and that was Kiera Henderson. She kind of got her shots coaching, and I thought she did a real nice job in playing that veteran role. Of course, she is that, and just kind of stabilizing things, because without her points early, it would have been a little bit of a hole to dig out of.
Well, you know what? I really feel like, Charles, she was the one person that they really never had an answer for.
Yeah, Kiera Henderson in the game played 35 minutes. She played 35 minutes in the game, Coach. You said they didn't have an answer for her. 35 minutes in the game, and she finished with 21 points. What made her game so special Saturday?
Well, I think her ability, and she can do so many different things. She can play. She can play your point guard position. She can play your two guard position. She can play your three guard position. She can play your four. She can play every position on the floor. She's a matchup problem, and I think that's why teams have so many problems dealing with her, because she can play so many different spots, and she can post you. She can, and when she started hitting that 3-point shot, Charles, I knew they was in trouble. When she's making that, she's unstoppable. They don't have anybody that can match up with her. They try to go small on her, and then she'll post a smaller person up. They go big on her. She gonna take them outside and drive by them. If they bag off of her, now she's making it. She's making a 3-point shot. She's just a matchup problem, and we saw that from the very beginning of the game. She was the one person that they had no answer for. She made everybody on
Well,
our team better.
yeah, and her points were huge in the first half because it was a struggle. We shot 38% in the first half, in the first quarter, 27% in the second quarter. So, the ball wasn't flowing through the basket, but Kiki was doing a nice job. So at halftime, Coach, you look at this game, and it was 24-23 Jackson State at the break, despite cold shooting from both teams. I'm sure you had to feel pretty good on the road, first conference game. 24-23. I'm sure you're pleased with the first 20 minutes.
I was very pleased with the first 20 minutes simply because we had the lead. They scored just before the half to take the 1-point lead. I thought the game was, really in our favor. I feel like we was in control of the tempo of the game. I feel like we was getting what we want, even though we wasn't making some of those shots, but those was the shots that we wanted. And they were just wasn't falling. I thought Lauren Nelson got a lot of shots right at the elbow. Normally these are shots that normally she's gonna knock down. So I feel like if we kept getting our shots that we wanted, at some point we was going to pull away from them. At some point we was going to have the quarter that we had in the fourth quarter, because they wasn't forcing us to do anything that we didn't want to do. So I really feel good about going into the half only down one.
I know fans, and I know how much they pay attention to you on the sideline, but when they see shots not falling, high percentage shots, I know on one hand fans are disappointed, but then I watch you and you applaud the fact that you're getting the looks that you want, just got to finish. Which emotion is stronger? The fact that, hey, I'm glad we got what we got, but then disappointed in the fact that we can't finish.
Well, my point of cheering is I know if we get that shot again, and that same person that got that shot, my feeling is they're gonna make that shot, because I know the work that's been put in practice. I see them practicing in that game. I know they can make that shot. Now my thing is, are they gonna keep that confidence level after they miss two or three of them, and the next time they get it, do they still believe that they can make it? And that's my thing. And I feel like our kids do. Lauren was 0 for, I think, 6 in that game, but I was just hoping she got another look like she got before, and I just
Yeah.
felt like she was going to make that, because I know how she make that shot consistently in practice. If we was taking shots that we don't make in practice or don't take in practice, and we was missing them, then I'll be a little concerned. Now we need to find other areas to get those shots in. But when we taking shots that we get every day in practice, and that's part of our offense. Those are the shots we look for, and we was getting those shots. So I feel real good. When you see me clapping, I ain't just clapping because we executed good. I'm clapping because man, I know we should have made that. You know what I mean? So if we get it
Yeah.
again, we gonna make it.
Well, one emotion, you're getting the shots, and obviously it's a 1 point game at the break. Then third quarter happens, and then we go into a funk. 17-10 Jackson State in that third quarter. We find ourselves trailing by 8 going into the fourth quarter. Was it Jackson State or was it Alcorn the reason why we were outscored by 7 in the third quarter?
Well, I think it was a little bit of both, simply because Jackson State was doing some positive things on second chance opportunities. They just got so many second chance opportunities, and that means that they was hitting, crashing the offensive boards, and we weren't doing a good job defensively of crashing the defensive boards. So you had to give them credit for that. But we only scored 10 points in that quarter, but I thought we should have scored at least 8 more points. We should have scored around 18 points in that quarter ourselves because of the looks that we got. So you had to give them credit, though. They was real aggressive on the offensive boards, and we didn't do a good job of boxing them out. We didn't do a good job of chasing down some of those rebounds. But I still feel good about the quarters because we was getting such good looks again. But the good thing about us, we always, when we get in trouble, we'll find a way to get that old back door to get us going again. When we really struggling, we'll find a way to get that back door maybe once or twice just to see it go through the net. That really helps. So we got it a couple good times and kind of gave us our confidence a little bit, and then it got to that fourth quarter, and people were thinking we were gonna continue to miss those open 3-point shots. I think Cheatham hit 2 in a row, Maya hit 1, and there we go. But the game would not have been close if we had have made the basic shots that we normally make. I know Jackson State will say the same thing, that they feel like they should have been making some of the shots they were making. But you watch the film; most of their shots was contested. We contested a lot of shots. Our shots wasn't even contested. We was missing them. So I thought that was the difference. We was trapping them out of it, and we was making them shoot contested shots. And I thought that was the difference in the game. I think it wore on them.
Yeah, as you look at some of the highlights here, you got Henderson's three. Does she have that kind of green light, Coach? When she's open, you've talked about Maya Claytor getting that three. She's got the definite green light. But and there's another three that I thought the threes really got us going. Maya Claytor finally knocked down one. Was a Kiki's three? You think probably? You said the back door, but the three started falling after that.
Well, but with Kiki, Charles, Kiki gonna take that shot maybe 2 times a game. Maya gonna take it every open look she get from the three. She's gonna take it. Kiki's not gonna do that. So we trust her. We trust that she's gonna make a good decision on when to take that shot and when not to take that shot. But if you look at the film and you watch that shot by Kiki, wasn't nobody in a mile of her. You almost have to take that
Yeah, when you look at the 3 point
get better.
shooting, yeah. I mean, so when Kiki is open, I mean, and teams are going to play off of her, thinking that she's not going to maybe drive by you, and so she's going to get that. Is it safe to say that she's probably going to get those looks every game?
She gonna get at least one or two a game, simply because people don't want to come up on her because they're afraid of her ability to drive to the basket. So they're gonna give her that, because if she's making that, though, Charles, that's what makes her so dangerous. Now you got to come up and play her, and can't no 4 or 5 keep her in front of them. And that's the
Yeah,
problem. They almost have to put a guard on her to keep her in front. And that when you put a guard on her, now she's gonna go post you. And that's the problem that teams have with Henderson. She's just so athletic, and she knows how to play the game when it comes to around the bucket. She's got a nice little touch around the bucket. She's been really working on her 3-point game, though. If you go into our practice, you'll see her in the hour before practice working on different types of moves that she make and working on that 3-point shot. And I told her, you can see your work. I mean, she's going to be just so dangerous from that 3-point line now, because now you're wondering, is she going to take it? Now she's going to take it. That's the problem. Back in the day, she would not take that shot. Now she's going to take at least one or two a game. And she make one of them. That's all you can ask for, because that's a dangerous shot to give up to somebody, especially at a key point in the game. And Kiki is making that shot when the pressure is on. When you got somebody making it when the pressure's on, that puts a lot more pressure on the opposing team.
Well, it was 41-33 at the end of the third quarter. Coach Jackson had the old momentum. What was your speech to your team through three quarters?
Well, like I said, I felt good about the third quarter, even though we was outscored 17-10. I still feel good. I feel like the pace was still, comfortable for us. At least we was dictating it. We wasn't scoring, but we was dictating the pace. They was not, and I just feel good going into the fourth quarter because I know the way that we play. I know how our traps work, and I feel like we was gonna be able to get out and run out and get some open looks. I feel good defensively, so I just knew that we had to find a way to score more because defensively we were solid. We just needed to find somebody to give us some basket. And in the basket that Cheatham was missing and Maya was missing, those are shots we know they can make. Once they start knocking down a few of those, we feel in good shape. But we got some good outside scoring from Houston with that down low. She started making some big buckets for us down low, which really opened up the game for Maya and Cheatham.
Well, you get into the fourth quarter, Coach. It was kind of back and forth. We made the run, and of course, holding them to 4 points. Where does it start on the defensive end, Coach? When you have quarters like holding Auburn to 6 points, holding Jackson State to 4, where does that start in terms of just the Lady Braves basketball and the way you want to do things?
Well, I think with us, Charles, is when we're playing our 1-3-1 zone defense, we're trying to keep people from driving to the basket on us. Straight line drives, getting easy shot. It's difficult to get easy shots against a 1-3-1 or 21. Which are zones for us. A lot of time we mix it up though. Sometimes you think we in a 1-3-1, but we really man to man, and that's what's really confuses team when they play against us. And I think it's almost impossible to adjust to that. Because how can you adjust to something when you really don't know what it is? You don't really know what they're doing out of it. And I think that's what helps us be so good defensively, because teams don't really know how to deal with that. They think we're 1-3-1, and we really man to man sometime out of it. Sometimes we're 1-3-1, sometimes we're trapping out of it. And there are areas on the court that we're trapping out of. We don't always trap in the corner. Sometimes we'll trap it up high. And we did a lot of that against Jackson, taking the ball out of their guards' hands and forcing them to make decisions. And I thought, one crucial play in that game when number 21 for Jackson had the ball, uh, we ended up trying to trap her out the corner. She beat us out of the corner with it, and she threw it right to us out on the post. That's having someone who's not used to making passing decisions. She used to shooting the ball, but she's not used to making passing decisions, and she just threw it straight to us. So that's what that 1-3-1 defense does to you, and that's what the 21 does to you. And that's when you mix it up like that, it's just something hard to go against. We haven't faced that as a offensive team yet. We got to be able to adjust to that too. Since we play against it a lot in practice, we think we'll be able to do a better job than most teams because we run it so much.
Well, as you see some of the highlights of 45 all game and under a minute left, and there was the and one, Leah Houston. Now, that was a scramble possession, Coach, right there, because there was probably 3 or 4 50-50 balls that we wound up getting. You see a travel right there. And so, but that, Leah Houston's big bucket with 47 seconds left was a huge play in that game, Coach. Talk about that as you see the Lady Braves kind of put the finishing touches right there with 30 seconds left. But Leah Houston's bucket, when there were 3 or 4 50-50 balls, we kept the possession, and Houston with the M1.
Yeah, it was a big bucket for us simply because it put us up two. With the opportunity to put us up three if she'd made a free throw. But it's late in the game, and you up two. Now your thing is, to be solid defensively, and we've been pretty solid defensively the whole game. So we really feel good being up two. We wish she had made the free throw to make it a three. Then we won't have to worry about them shooting a 3-point shot and beating us, or taking the lead on us. But we felt real good about that, especially being up two, and all we need to do now is make a stop. You can hear all the kids starting right here, just a game right here. Let's make a stop, and we did just that. We came down and made a stop, and we ended up going up 4 on them, and we pretty much had the game under control once we made that stop after being up two.
It just dawned on me. Jackson didn't foul or didn't even try to foul or try to extend the game. Once you spread it out, you thought
Well,
they were going to chase foul. What happened right
Well,
there?
they tried to keep that game as low as possible when it came to that point differential, because it could end up in a tie, and you foul us, we go to the line, we make two, now we beat you about six. So I know what they was doing on that. They felt they just decided that we're not gonna foul them, we ain't gonna give them a chance to go up, make it a 6 point game, because we might end up in a tie with Alcorn, and we'll get the tiebreaker if we beat them by 5. So I think that's what they're thinking on that, because we pretty much had control of that game, and it wasn't in a good situation where, because everybody that was touching that ball at one point, like Claytor, Cheatham, are pretty good free throw shooters. They didn't want to foul them, so they just let the time run out.
Well, the Lady Braves win
And we was up
49 to
4.
40. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I just thought they might try
Yeah,
to, extend the
yeah.
foul, extend the
I
game.
thought they, yeah. I thought they had a chance to really do that if they wanted to, but they felt like it was in the wrong hands. If it had been another free throw shooter, they might would have fouled. They might would have fouled Leah Houston if she had had it,
Yeah.
or Kiki if she had had it. But they wasn't going to foul Claytor because they felt like she was a good free throw shooter. Cheatham is a big time free throw shooter when it comes to dealing with pressure. She knows how to deal with it. So I think that was their reason for not fouling.
Well, the Lady Braves win 49 to 45, holding Jackson State to just 4 points. And Jackson State shot 33%, Lady Braves 34%. Minus 12 on the boards, Coach. On the road, you're minus 12 on the boards. You usually don't come out on top, but we did this time. And I'm sure that's something you got to work on definitely as you go to Alabama.
No question about that, Charles. That's one thing we've been talking about all week is, we got to be better on the boards, because if we had been better on the boards, they would not have scored as many points as they scored, because they got a lot of those points on second chance opportunities, and we just have to do a better job. But anytime you play in zone, no matter what kind of zone it is, especially when you trap out like we do, that's what you leave open. It's hard to box people out. We expect to get out rebounded in a lot of cases when we're playing out 1-3-1, but we expect to turn you over too, and that's what we did with Jackson. We turned them over a lot, and we got some easy baskets out of that. But we understand that. We're gonna have some issues with the rebounding part, but we can't allow them to out rebound us 40 to 28. That's just too many. Maybe 5 or 6, but not 10 or 11. We can't afford that. But we understand that we're going to have some issues with the rebounding, because we're out of position, because we're trapping in the corner, we're trapping on the wing, and it makes it tough to get back and rebound and box people out.
Well, as we talked about, Kiki Henderson with 21, Nakia Cheatham with 12, Leah Houston with 6, Sharia Hunt with 4 points, Krishani Walker with a couple for the Lady Braves, 3 for Maya Claytor, one big 3. She was 1 of 9, but in a game like this, every bucket
Yeah.
is very critical for sure. Coaches, we
And
kind of
I,
turn our
and I,
attention. Okay.
and I think I think they're going to clean that stat sheet up a little bit. I think Kiki had 19 points, and I think Claytor had 5. Claytor hit 2 free throws they did not record, and she hit a 3, so she had 5 points. I think Kiki had 19. I think
Well,
they
I will
gave her
mark
2
that.
free throws to Kiki,
Well, I'm going to mark
and they
that
supposed to
down
be cleaning
myself.
that
So,
up on the stat sheet. Yeah.
okay. I'll clean it up on my stat sheet that I always keep for later
Yeah.
use. So we're 1-0 in the conference, Coach. The last time, and you asked the question, the last time that we won the first conference game, you got to help me with this, 2020, 2021. I don't know if that was the COVID year. Texas Southern game was a TBA game, and then the second conference game of that year, we did beat Prairie View 55-41. So that was our first conference game. Then that particular year was a TBA of that first game of the 2020-2021 season. You know the last time we were 2-0 in conference, Coach? Can you remember?
Well, I can't remember since I've been here. It wasn't. I know it wasn't during my time, so that's what making it so difficult for me to remember. I don't remember.
Well, I'll give you a pass. 2011, 2012. The
See,
last
I was
time
at Mississippi Valley.
yeah.
I was at Mississippi Valley winning the championship when that was going on.
Well, 2011, 2012 season, we beat Texas Southern 51-48, and we beat Prairie View 59-54. So that's the last time we were 2-0 in conference. Well, Coach, now we go to Alabama State and A&M. And, for those who might not know, and we got like a couple of minutes left before we get ready for Coach Morton, what do you expect in this Alabama swing? You got a chance. we talked all off season. If you can come out of the first 3 on the road 2-1, your great 3-0 is fantastic. But Alabama State's 2-0.
Well, Charleston, I think they have been the biggest surprise of all the games this past weekend. I think they surprised everybody. Nobody expects for them to go to Mississippi Valley and to go to Pine Bluff and come out of there 2-0. Maybe a split, but not 2-0. I think they are the biggest surprise so far. They have a very good basketball team. They have a lot of new people. They're playing with a lot of energy. Our thing is to go out and just be the Lady Braves. That's what we tell our kids. Just to be ourselves. Let's go in there and play solid defense. Let's control the tempo. Let's control the things that we can control. And if we do that, we'll be okay. And we feel good about that. But we know we're gonna have to shoot the ball better against Bama State. We feel like to beat them because they're scoring in the high numbers, which we don't think they're going to score like that against us because we think our defense is better. But they have proven that they can score in the 70s and the 80s, in a conference game. So we gotta make sure our mind is really focused on being solid defensively, and we want to control the tempo of the game because we can keep the scores down on offense by the way we handle the ball, by the way we take care of the ball, and I really would proud of our kids for not turning it over that much against Jackson State. And we have to be the same way against Bama State if we want to stand a chance to win.
As Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert. Coach, have a good trip to Alabama. We'll be there to bring you all the action Thursday and Saturday. And let's go get them in Montgomery. We'll talk to you then.
All right, Charles, appreciate it.
That's Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert. We're going to take a time out here. We'll be back. Jake Morton standing by. The first Jake Morton show. First conference game for Jake Morton and the Braves. And what a game it was. Down 17 and grabbed the lead, couldn't finish. We'll talk all about it coming up next. We'll take a break. The Jake Morton show on the other side here on the Braves Sports Network.